Molineux, Molineux, Liverpool versus everybody. Molineux is calling. Wolves, seventh in the league, by far the best team to come up in the division. Although they did lose to Cardiff, they're very, very reminiscent in my mind to some early Liverpool teams where they put themselves about. They really step up for the big games, and sometimes the teams on their level or lesser, they tend to have some issues. They can play some football. They pack some power. They got some punch. I get through some of their players, most of them you know, but some of those teams that I mentioned, well, Cardiff and lesser teams that they probably should beat on paper, um, did what a lot of teams did with us that we struggle with, which is sit back and nullify their attacking threats and kept them from really enjoying their football. Now, their manager might have a different way of looking at it, but from what I can see, it's very, very similar to some of the Klopp earlier teams. And I want to talk about Nuno Santos. His quiet assuredness, quite frankly, spooks me a bit. I mean, he's a very, very um, mild mannered, kind of soft spoken guy, but you can tell very, very confident within himself and with the team that he has. They have this Portuguese um, kind of blend they have going on right now. Obviously, with Ruben Neves, Moutinho, the goalkeeper, Rui Patricio. Um, got a really, really good squad, man. Another guy, a young kid, Gibbs White, I think his name is, doing really well for them. They do have an injury to one of their attacking players. I don't know if they'll bring in Traore, who I won't say surprisingly hasn't been spoken a lot about because the thing with this kid is he's got a world of speed, man. He's very, very fast, very, very quick. I don't know how good his end product is or just his mental when it comes to the game. Not that he's not intelligent, not that he's not smart, but it just seems like there might be some other things going on. And hopefully he's not a guy who based on his speed, he thought that would get him through a career. Because I think if he gets himself together, not to say that he hasn't, but the fact that he keeps changing these teams and he's never really fully grasped the potential, which I see he has, but potential is just potential at the end of the day. So maybe he's just not as good of a player as I think. He may come in. They usually go with a 3-4-3. I think defensively they kind of move back to a five with their wingers kind of tucking in a 5-3-2 or something like that. But they're very flexible. Um, a very, very tough opponent. A very, very tough opponent. I think most Liverpool fans know that this is not a game that we can afford to take lightly, and I don't think that we will. They are a good team, and they can hurt you. Um, the guy they got up top, I think it's Jimenez, Mexican international. They got some firepower, and to see where they've come from, I think 5 years ago they were in League One. So this manager has come in, former goalkeeper at that great Porto side that Jose Mourinho had, and really, really just changed the whole atmosphere, the whole kind of way that Wolves look at their team and how they play football. And it's very attractive. I think it's early, but you can see that he could probably win manager of the season, manager of the year. I mean, what he's able to do with this team, the money they spent. A lot of their players are on loan. I'm assuming with the option to buy, but they've got some great players, and they will definitely be good. With all that being said, if Liverpool are as real as I think they are, if they plan to accomplish the goals that I believe that they are setting out to accomplish, then this is a game you have to win. It's just like any other opponent at this point. Obviously, no disrespect to Watford. I just finished waxing lyrical about them, eulogizing about them. But at the same time, this is Liverpool, and we need to again have the intensity there, the hunger, the power, the fight, the pace, everything, um, and go into this game and at the Molineux prepared to get 3 points. It'll be a tough game today. It'll be a really tough game. It'll be a really tough game. I'm excited about it. But yes, they have a fantastic team. For us, I think obviously as every game seemingly, especially with seeing Fab doing better and Naby doing better, the midfield is where you really want to start talking about and sinking your teeth into wondering how Klopp is going to set up for this game. Is it going to be a horses for courses thing? Is he, I can't imagine Hendo sitting back-to-back games out. I think he could feature. I think Shaq deserves a start. If he doesn't, you can understand it. I don't know if Klopp kind of sees him as that much needed spark off the bench, or does he feel like yes, every time he comes in, more than likely, it might be one game that he wasn't fantastic, but every time he comes in, um, he adds a much needed dose to what we're doing. So, um, my starting 11, I'll just get into it. Obviously, Allison in goal. I think you got to keep Klein in there. There is a question mark, though. I don't know if Klopp feels like he wants to be careful with him. It took him a long time to come back. He was amazing against United, um, far exceeding what I would have imagined that he played like a performance, a full 90 minutes at that. So I don't know if Klopp wants to run him again, knowing that if he can play in that way, he could be very vital to what we have going forward with injuries, suspensions, or just simple rotation. But I go Klein. I think he deserves to start as good as he was against United in this game. I think it'll be good. I don't know if Klopp's thinking Milner. Milner's had I guess, a hamstring thing. I didn't think it was that big a deal. Wasn't even on the team sheet last game, so I don't know if he's still struggling with that. Oh, I guess I heard he's still he actually I guess he is back into contention from what I've read and heard. So, but I just think Klein should come back in. At this point, I think it's a good opportunity to kind of get him to run the games. Trent allegedly will be back at the Newcastle game. That's a game where I think you can make maybe 3, 4 changes. This game, I think you should keep it as close as you can to the United game. So I'm going with the rest of my lineup. Obviously, Van Dijk, Lovren, um, because they're in good form, but also because that's just what we have right now. We also know um, Matip and Gomez won't be playing. So, and then on the left, I think it's Robertson. Look, I think people will talk about him needing rest. Robertson is a guy like Genie. Um, they very seldom look fatigue or need of rest. I'm not in their body. Maybe they do. All players do at some point. But I think Robinson is a guy who can continue to play. And again, I think that's a situation where, again, a Newcastle game, maybe that's where you bring in Alberto Moreno. So, in the midfield, to me, again, I think Naby and Fab haven't played as much as the other midfielders, obviously. Nowhere near as much as Genie's has been playing. And I think at this point, it almost feels like he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet, beside the goalkeeper, Van Dijk, and maybe Firmino. But I would really love to see Fab and Naby. I've spoken about it before. I don't question Klopp anymore. I just don't when it comes to lineups. But I'd like to see Fab and Naby go at it again. If that means you put Fab and Naby in Hendo, rest Genie, so be it. Um, there's a shout to have Milner in, but for me, I think it's the same midfield we had last game. I'd like to see that continuity, especially with Fab and Naby. We need to be on it from the first minute to the last. Yeah, I agree with that. Wolves are not really a defensive team, which could be good for us. You say that, and I think you're probably right. They're fifth in the league defensively, which is strange because at this point in the season, 17 games, being fifth, conceding 19 goals, I don't know how to look at that. I don't know if that's a good thing, a bad thing, or what. Again, being that they are a newly promoted team, that's probably not the worst place to be in. You're in seventh place. The results they've gotten against big teams is incredible. Few draws in there. They beat Chelsea. We couldn't do that. They also lost to Spurs, and we beat Spurs. So they've gotten some great results against the top teams. The only team they haven't gotten a good result was against Spurs, where they had to fight back and probably could have pulled something out. They had a few more minutes left, maybe. Obviously, they haven't played us, and that should be a new test for them. But um, yeah, I mean, I don't think they would hang their hat on their defensive display. You know what I mean? I think the keeper obviously is very, very good, international. Um, they got the guy Cody, Connor Cody, former Liverpool guy, born and bred Reds fan, family all family Reds fans. They got some other guys, Bennett, and I forget the other defender. They play that back three, but yeah, I mean you wouldn't really look at them as a defensive team, but I think again with this manager, he'll have them ready for this game. He'll have them ready for this game, and I think with the back three, it's very risky. I think playing against a Liverpool team. What's up, Mame? Good to have you on, man. Good to have everybody on. It's very risky to play a back three against a Liverpool side. So again, I haven't watched too many of their games. I've watched bits and pieces here and there, but it makes me wonder: will he tinker with that? He seems like a guy, like I said, who's confident in what he does. He'll probably play the brand that he wants this team to play. I don't think he's going to change too much for an opponent, and maybe that can come to his demise at some point as he gets on the Premier League and realizes there are some times where you might need to just tinker a bit. Um, we get some of these comments. I think we need to start our strongest team in this match. We can rest a few players against Nick. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Interesting matchup. Mommy says haven't seen much of Wolves. Yeah, again, I've seen bits and pieces. But for the majority, it's just been highlights. And again, they have a strong team. That two in the midfield again to me, even though I know their wingers kind of help out going forward, playing defensive. I'm assuming playing in the midfield a bit. But as good as Matinho and Ruben Neves are, I think we'll have too much in the midfield for them with our three. So that'll be an interesting battle. Neves and Matinho have a great way of picking out passes. That's just the truth of the matter. And with our press, it'll be interesting to see how they do with being hurried. You know, when they got two, three guys running at them, how are they going to deal with that? I'm trying to imagine the teams they played against this season and got good results again. I don't think any of those teams really do that, at least not to our level. So I look to see the press on again. But yeah, my midfield is the same midfield against United and same front three. I know it might be harsh on Shaqiri, and again, I wouldn't mind to see him in. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in. But I think we need to stick with our strongest team, as the fellow said a few minutes ago. So I'm really excited about it at the Molineux. And like I said in the title, we really need to stay focused on the task at hand, and that is continuing to put points on the board. Continue to put points on the board. And it's going to be a tough game. But I think, again, being Liverpool, knowing what, at the end of the day, you got to thank City for where we are right now. And I say that because it's the pressure they put on everyone in the Premier League to really be at your A game. And we have very, 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 very small margin for error. That's just the facts of the matter. And you only can thank Pep and City for that. The changes we made, the guys we brought in. How long had it been since Klopp went on with Mignolet, Karius? Obviously, he saw that he needed improvement, but he wanted to stay with him. And I think if Karius had a better preseason, I'm not so sure that we go for a keeper. I just really don't know that. And so Klopp's finally come around, it seems like, to say, look, to best this team, to get the trophy, this is how we have to play. This is how we have to play. And I think this controlled tempo and getting through games, and yes, having our share of luck, Chelsea, Everton, City missing their penalty. You can, if you want to throw in there the deflected goals for Shaqiri, whatever. You need that, and there's gonna be that, And I said it before. No one knocked Fergie for all the last second Fergie time goals that they got, in their numerous campaigns to win titles. So you need it. City have had theirs as well. So I think every team who wins the league has their fair share. Have they had as much as us, less, more? I don't think that's really important. I think what is important is that we continue to play the way we're playing, but also switching that, flipping that around for different opponents. And I think this is a different opponent. It's an opponent that will be probably unlike many opponents that we've seen, at least in the Premier League, with that 3-4 or 3-2. Sorry, 3-4-2, 3-4-3. Sorry, 3-4-3, because the wingbacks kind of make a more of a midfield four with the two midfielders that they have sitting. So really excited about it. Really excited about it. But like I said, this manager gets all my respect. I've been watching a lot of his interviews. His composure, just the way he looks at the people who interview him. He's got a very steely kind of way about him, presence about him, and it's an attractive thing, man. I think they're very fortunate to have a manager come in and be doing well for them, and I think that's something they can hang the hat on and be positive and optimistic about going forward with their team. I think that team believes the best. I think they believe that they could get top four. It's probably a stretch first season, but you never know. I think getting into a European place is big for them, and I think that's something that they definitely can accomplish. But yeah, today I want Liverpool to smash them. I won't be saying much nice things post this video. I think I've said enough, and so I want to see us angry. I want to see us passionate. Starting the Premier League weekend off, Liverpool versus Wolves, and it should be a cracker. It should be a cracker. I think, like people have said, we need to start early. Then we get goals early. Our pressing is clicking. Our pressing is really key in this game because, again, I don't think they've seen much of that. Obviously, they're not in Europe. They're only playing the Premier League and then the FA Cup that's coming up. So they wouldn't have seen so much. I don't know how much they might have seen in the Championship. And again, I mean, teams can adjust to that end game. I'm sure he's probably run his team through the paces to prepare for that. A good manager would. So looking forward to a really good game. Two really good managers. One who's kind of, I think, reintroducing himself on the scene. I mean, he's been around, managed at Porto, managed at Valencia. Obviously, what I've said about being a great goalkeeper in his own right in his playing days. So should be a really, really good head-to-head match, and it'll be just interesting to see how the team reacts and how we look after this much rest, after a great United result, um, and just keeping things in perspective and realizing what it is that we're trying to accomplish this season, and just going and doing it. That's really what it comes down to. Liverpool need to keep in this way. I'm not a guy who's saying, "Oh, because City, fuck City." Liverpool need to do it because we need to accomplish some things. We need to set ourselves, keep ourselves at the top, um, and keep fighting. After this game is Newcastle, then Arsenal, then City. So we've got some tough fixtures coming up, including the Newcastle game. I don't think that's a game that you can just say it's an easy match. I do think, however, with the strength of our squad now lately, that we could afford to make some changes there. So just really excited about Friday Night Football under the lights at night, Molineux. Um, should be a good one. Should be a great one. I'm going with a. I'm gonna go with a 3-0 win. I'm gonna go with 3-0 win. I think defensively will show up again. I think they could cause us some issues and may have some moments, some chances. Again, the guys in midfield who can pick passes out is phenomenal, phenomenal. And even their wide guys, I think they got some good players and they can really hurt teams. And so I think they'll have their chances, but I think Liverpool will be sober enough to be awake to those things and just continue in winning ways. So I'm going 3-0. That might sound harsh to some people, but that's just the confidence I have in this team right now. I won't be surprised if it's a 3-1, 2-1. I definitely can see them perhaps maybe getting a goal, but beyond that, the fact of the matter is we're just not conceding. We're just not conceding in the league, and so I don't see why we can't be confident to realize a clean sheet, another clean sheet, um, and get the 3 points here. So we'll see you guys for the confirmed 11, and then at halftime, and then post match, and then because I'll be out, I probably do a post match just after the game, and then do a longer version of that as I tend to do after the game once I've arrived back home. But much love to everyone who's found some time to come see the video today. Appreciate that. And just look forward to Liverpool enjoying their football and really getting at this team. Off topic, how you feel about Bayern? I'm confident. Not really off topic. It's football and it's an important question to bring up. I'm feeling ultra confident. And maybe I'm crazy for feeling that way, but and it's not even so much of Bayern not being as great as they used to be or once were. It's more of how good Liverpool are, how much better we were than we, or better we are than we were. And in a very short period of time, it's amazing the players Klopp has brought in, how they bought into his tactics, his way of playing football. We don't need to even go into the money we've spent, but also the small amount that we've spent for guys like Shaqiri and Robertson. So I feel really confident. I think they've got Robin, they've got Ribery. Both guys are very long in the tooth. Very getting up there in age. Can still play, and you don't want to disrespect them. But obviously Lewandowski. They got some dudes for sure. But I just I back us to do well against that team and in the Champions League in general. I back us to go the distance, honestly. And there'll be some hurdles, some serious hurdles, much tougher than it was last season. Believe that. But I think Liverpool are a team that not even necessarily should be feared, but just should be respected, especially on the European stage. And if you look at everything that's been written and said, a lot of the Spanish teams were saying just that. They were trying to avoid Liverpool, and I think that's where we are. And I think it's up to Liverpool to continue to show that. And this is what I mean. I don't really put too much thought, too much of my attention and energy into listening to what rival fans say. I love HH, for example, but he continues to say City's going to win it, and that's fine. I think guys like Drifty, who's a Liverpool fan, a very pessimistic one, but they're guys in our camp as far as fans, supporters, guys not in our camp, rival supporters who just don't believe in Liverpool, and that's fine. It's up to Liverpool to show that. For so long, we have been a team where guys could say they'll bottle it. That's just the truth of the matter. We have bottled it religiously, and so it's up to us to change that narrative. And I think this is the time. This is the time, boys. It's time for Liverpool. We've been do it. But everything Klopp has been saying in interviews, and this is what he's been building up to. It's taken a while, but Drifty is scary. Yeah, he's a character that I think draws attention, and that's great. I'm all for any Liverpool, most Liverpool supporters, in getting that. And Drifty and that channel, and him and Matt, big up to them. But you know, to go into these games, I don't know how anyone can go in and say, oh, I'd be happy with a draw, or they're European royalty, as if Liverpool isn't, and basically saying that we're gonna really struggle with them, and we may struggle with them. It's Bayern Munich, you know what I mean? But alone, that's a delicious, those names together in Europe, one of the best matchups I think in this recent draw. But anyway, yeah, to answer your question, that was a long-winded one, but I think we would do very, very well against Bayern. That's just my opinion. Um, Jose's comments made me realize how powerful our team is now. So much energy. Yeah, I didn't really read it that way. I think Jose was committing suicide. He knew there was a heavy package coming with money. I don't know if you guys saw Sky following him around in the streets, I guess, of Manchester, asked him how he felt about it. Jose Marino's fine. Trust me, he's fine. And I think, yes, I think he was honest. But when have you known Jose Marino to be that brutally honest and that showing that much praise to an opponent, especially a rival? That doesn't. What's up, Anfield Lord? Boom, back to you, bro. I mean, that doesn't seem like Jose. So I think saying things like that, talking about how his former teams were so much better, and last year when they got knocked out by Sevilla, I mean, the fact that they knew they had to pay him that much money and still let him go, that speaks volumes. So I think I hear what you're saying, but I think it's more of Jose just being like, you know what, my days are very limited here. I'm gonna say what I want to say. So, Mami says, what's crazy is that I strongly believe that our second part of the season will be. Yeah, I agree. I agree. We still got Naby to come in and be stronger. Fabinho's in a good way, but I agree with that. Bro, hangouts will be 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern time. Okay, if I can make it, I will, man. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Jason, and we'll definitely. I mean, we'll talk in depth, serious depth about that as time goes on. But right now, um, our attention should be all focused on. That's a lie because I'm gonna say this. I've been saying that to myself, but the honest truth is, I can't wait for the Champions League, man. I cannot wait to see Liverpool playing Bayern at home. I just can't wait. I can't wait to see those teams clashing together. I believe Manuel Neuer has come out and chatted a bit already. Clearly, he's not aware of what happens, what usually happens, at least in recent history, recent memory, what happens when guys have said things. But listen, they've got the right to pump their chest a bit. They have done well, obviously, in their league for the longest of times. They've done well in Champions League over time, over history. Um, but yeah, I'm excited about that. But yeah, no, but right now the focus, my main focus is the Premier League and seeing us stay at the top. Because again, I say it all the time, being at the top right now, and I probably said it doesn't mean much. It does mean something, but you can't win anything in December, as Klopp has said. At the same time, now that we're here, we need to make sure we maintain that. We cannot. I cannot stress this enough. We cannot worry about what City are doing until we play them on the third. But right now, I'm not even thinking about that game. They asked Klopp who will be fit at that time. It's like the questions these motherfuckers ask. It's like, what school did you like? Do you just have to be a regular person who doesn't, you ask dumb questions? That's not part of the curriculum. They don't ask you. They don't coach you on asking, you know, uh, questions that make sense. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. So, all Europe was scared to draw Liverpool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think they're definitely. And again, you can say scared. I just think people respect Liverpool. I think they respect Liverpool, and that's all that I would expect them to do. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, again, like I keep saying, it's up to Liverpool to continue to push that envelope. We can't sit on it now and say, oh, we're feared. Well, let's show them why we may be feared or why they may be scared. Let's show the world. I heard people getting at Lovren for some comments he made about ending the season unbeaten. Listen, here's the thing with Lovren. I've spoken about it before. I got to big Lovren up, and I have to condemn the idiots who continue to get at him. He was asked, does he think they can stay unbeaten? He said he hopes so. I, how is that a problem? I mean, who wouldn't hope that? So, if he said no, people be so. Lovren can't win for losing, and I've said it before. It's best for him to keep his mouth shut. But at the end of the day, I can appreciate him expressing himself, especially when it's not something where he's beating his chest and calling himself the best. Even with that, though, is that necessarily bad? It's not really. To have that confidence is great. My thing is always saying something before showing it, and then when you show it, you don't really come up too big. You know what I mean? So come up too big. Wow, that wasn't the best thing to say. But If VBD made the same comment, everyone would be. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. And that's the thing. I've read someone say that somewhere else in another comment section, but you're right. But I mean, listen. Again, people are going to say what they want to say. And as I've said, there's still people in our ranks, in our squad, in our fan base, who still, doubt Liverpool. And that's my phrase. We got to continue to show people. We got to continue to prove that we should be respected. And at some point, hopefully people are saying, well, maybe this is Liverpool's title to lose. And again, we need to see it through. We got to see it through. It's a long season, and there may be results that we do not like. But why not think that we can go undefeated? I know it rarely happens. It's only happened once in the Premier League, Arsenal, obviously. But why not? Why not believe that we can do that? So again, I think I'll wrap it up here. Got to get ready for work. Knock that out. But yeah, we'll see you guys in a few hours. So enjoy your Friday, and see you guys this evening.